Well, thank you. It's great to see everybody here. If you would, please take your seats for the start of our event. We have a great crowd here tonight, and thank you very much for your attendance. I'd like to thank everyone who has joined us in person and across the country for our EAC YouTube channel live stream broadcast of our event. We thank you so much for attending our National Poll Worker Appreciation and Recruitment event, live from Space Center Houston in Houston, Texas. Our event today will highlight what our election workers' service means to our nation and our democracy, and there'll certainly be much more about that later. My name is Greg Clark, and I serve as the Public Affairs Specialist for the U.S. Election Assistance Commission, and I'll be serving as your moderator today. To start our event off on a proper note, please stand if you are able as the color guard for Houston Central Recruiting Company, Houston Recruiting Battalion will now present our nation's colors. Please continue standing as we are now privileged to have Mr. George Powell sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see? Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Well, fantastic. Incredible. Now please continue standing as retired Air Force Colonel Dave Lewis will lead us all in reciting our nation's Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. We will now play the service songs of our military branches. If you or a family member has served or is currently serving, please rise to be recognized when your service song is played. Thank you all very much for your service and sacrifice for our great nation. The U.S. Election Assistance Commission and our partner, Vet the Vote, extend our thanks to Space Center Houston and all those supporting today's event for their partnership and their time and talent to take place today. The U.S. Election Assistance Commission and Vet the Vote extend our thanks to the Houston Recruiting Battalion Color Guard and their fine service members for their service to our nation and their support of today's event. Before I introduce our first speaker, on behalf of the U.S. Election Assistance Commission and Vet the Vote, I'd like to thank the Harris and Galveston County Clerk offices for their assistance with local coordination to help make our event possible. We are privileged to have with us today Clerk Tanisha Hudspeth from Harris County and Clerk Dwight Sullivan from Galveston County, as well as Tax Assessor, Collector, and Voter Registrar Annette Ramirez from Harris County. I'd like to extend an extra special thanks to Tanisha Hudspeth, the clerk for Harris County, and her staff, as well as Chelsea Atkinson, the event sales and operations manager for Space Center Houston, along with their event and AV staff for going above and beyond to assist us. We are privileged to have with us the program director of our event partner, Vet the Vote, Camelia Jackson, who's been instrumental in coordinating our event. If you did not stop by their table before the event, please do so before you leave. We also want to thank all the Texas clerks and voter registrars and their staff who are in attendance today. Let us also recognize all poll workers, managers, election judges, commissioners, and inspectors wherever they might be today, as this event is all about you. And to all the election office staff across our nation, thank you for the incredible work you all do. With that all proudly said, I'd like to invite our first speaker to the podium. Since 2016, he has been the president and CEO of Space Center Houston. With approximately 470 employees and contractors, Space Center Houston is the #1 international attraction in the greater Houston area, generating $240 million of impact. I'll let him tell you all the rest. Here with a few words about Space Center Houston and its history, please welcome its president and CEO, William Harris.
Good evening and welcome to Space Center Houston. We're honored to welcome the Vet for the Vote community and appreciate your continued commitment to service. As the official visitor center for NASA Johnson Space Center, we're a nonprofit STEM learning destination that interprets the past, present, and future of human space exploration. Millions of guests from around the world have come here to experience the story of human spaceflight. What began as a science center and museum has evolved into a leading destination for space exploration learning, one that inspires curiosity and helps people understand the remarkable work underway in today's space economy. Our shared purpose is to bring people and space closer together, because when people understand exploration, they begin to see themselves in it. They recognize that the future of space exploration isn't shaped only by astronauts, but by people from every walk of life who contribute their talents, ideas, and passions to something bigger than themselves. Our mission is to reveal how science and humanity power exploration. For us, that means going beyond preserving history. It means helping people understand that space exploration is happening right now, and that its impact reaches far beyond rockets and spacecraft and is relevant to our everyday lives. Astronauts have lived and worked aboard the International Space Station for nearly 26 years, conducting research that is advancing medicine, technology, and our understanding of how humans can live and work farther from Earth. Through the Artemis campaign, we're preparing to return humans to the moon and establish a sustained presence that will help pave the way for humans to travel to Mars. At the same time, commercial companies, universities, and international partners are opening new frontiers that are transforming the future of exploration. Here in Houston, we're fortunate to be at the heart of this new era. Our region has become one of the world's leading centers for aerospace, life sciences, and engineering, energy innovation, and commercial space, bringing together government, industry, academia, and international partners to help shape what's next. We help people see themselves in that future. We have the privilege of translating the achievements of space exploration into experiences that inspire curiosity, deepen understanding, and help people recognize their role in what comes next. Whether it's a child visiting for the first time, a student discovering a passion for engineering, a teacher bringing space into the classroom, or families exploring the incredible advances happening today, we want every guest to leave believing that they have a place in humanity's next chapter of exploration. And our vision is a world inspired by space exploration. Inspiration is where it begins. But our hope is that inspiration grows into curiosity, learning, innovation, and ultimately action. As I look around this room, I see people who understand that service is about answering a call greater than yourself. Whether that service has been in uniform, in your communities, or through your continued commitment to civic engagement, you know that meaningful work is never accomplished alone. That spirit is at the heart of space exploration. Every successful mission depends on people from every discipline working together toward a shared purpose. At Space Center Houston, we strive to tell these stories, not only to celebrate what has been accomplished, but to inspire the next generation to find their way to serve, innovate, and contribute to humanity's next great chapter of exploration. Space Center Houston has been privileged to bring people in space closer together for 3 decades. We hope that you, as you explore this evening, you'll not only see the extraordinary achievements of the past, but also the incredible opportunities that lie ahead and the role that each of you can play in shaping that future. Thank you for your service. Thank you for spending your evening with us, and welcome to Space Center Houston.
Thank you, Mr. Harris, and on behalf of the Election Assistance Commission and Vet the Vote, we thank you for your longtime service to community and your support of our event. Our next speaker is one that I especially appreciate as they represent Vet the Vote. Today is the 5th event across the nation we are hosting in partnership with them. Our first was in Jacksonville, Florida. Our second in Los Angeles at the Battleship, Iowa, which was then followed by co-hosted events at the World War II Museum in New Orleans, and most recently, this past March, at the National Museum of the United States Air Force in Dayton, Ohio. Please welcome Vet the Vote's Program Director, Camelia Jackson.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Greg, for that introduction, and thank you, Mr. Harris, for opening the doors of this remarkable place to us tonight. Space Center Houston is a remarkable place, and if you haven't had a chance to visit it prior to now, I highly suggest you do. It's just fascinating and mind-blowing on so many levels. My name is Camelia Jackson, and I serve as the program coordinator for Vet the Vote Houston. Before I go any further, I want to acknowledge how many people in this room have traveled far and wide to be here. We have election officials who took time out of an already demanding schedule. And we have a team from the EAC who flew in specifically to say thank you to the people they have never met for work most Americans never think twice about. That says something about how much this moment matters. I want to start just by looking around this room. We are in the Mission Briefing Center, a room built for exactly one purpose: to prepare people for something bigger than themselves, something that requires precision, trust, and total commitment to getting it right. For decades, the people who walked through these doors were preparing to leave the atmosphere. Tonight, the people in this room are preparing for a mission a little closer to home, but no less important: making sure every eligible American can cast a ballot and that every ballot is counted. That is the mission of a poll worker. Vet the Vote exists because we believe there is no one better suited to that mission than the men and women who have already raised their hand once to serve this country. Veterans and military-connected Americans already know how to show up early, follow procedure, work under pressure, and put the mission ahead of themselves. That is not a coincidence. That is training. And it is exactly what our elections need. So tonight, first and foremost, I want to say thank you. Thank you to every person in this room who has already served as a poll worker or who is here tonight considering it for the first time. You're the reason this program exists. You are the reason our elections work. Houston is home to one of the largest veteran populations of any metro area in the country. We are surrounded every single day by people who already know how to lead under pressure, manage logistics, and stay calm when everyone else in the room is nervous. Elections administrators across our counties will tell you plainly that is precisely the temperament that they are short on every single election cycle. Vet the Vote was built to close that gap. Excuse me. Vet the Vote was built to close that gap, to connect the discipline this community already has with the civic need that is sitting right in front of us. I want to take a moment to recognize how many people it takes to make a night like this possible. In just a few minutes, you're going to hear from Harris County Clerk Tanisha Hudspeth and Galveston County Clerk Dwight Sullivan, two election officials who are partnered with Vet the Vote to open the door for veterans across our region. You'll hear from Harris County Tax Assessor Collector and Voter Registrar Annette Ramirez. And you'll hear from Colonel Dave Lewis, Director of the Harris County Veteran Services Department, whose own path from military service to public service is exactly the story we're trying to tell tonight. Lastly, we'll be honored by the words of poll workers themselves, Mr. Prophet Mubong, Mr. Bill Sargent, and Mr. Eugene Finkelson. Men who have already done what we're asking this room to consider doing or continue doing. And we'll close with someone who understands mission-critical service better than almost anyone alive, Colonel Bill MacArthur, NASA astronaut, retired Army officer, and a man who has quite literally seen our country from a vantage point most of us will never know. Every one of these speakers represents a different chapter of the same story, a story about what it means to serve and how service doesn't end when the uniform comes off. So as you enjoy this evening in this room, in this building that has spent decades turning ordinary people into explorers, I'd ask you to think about a different kind of mission, one that doesn't require years of training or a trip to another world, or at least a trip outside of this world. One that simply requires you to show up on election day, follow the procedure, and help a fellow citizen exercise the most fundamental right we have. It is a smaller mission than the ones this building usually celebrates, but I promise you it is not a smaller responsibility. Every poll worker who checks in a voter, who troubleshoots a machine, who stays calm at 7 o'clock in the morning with a line already forming outside, that person is doing something this country cannot function without. There is no astronaut without ground control, and there is no free and fair election without the people willing to staff it. That mission needs you. Vet the Vote needs you. And our democracy needs you. Thank you again to Space Center Houston, to the EAC, to Mr. Clark, and to every county official and veteran in this room tonight. It is my privilege to welcome you, and I cannot wait for you to hear from the incredible speakers who follow. Thank you.
Again, how about that? Thank you, Camelia, for your and Vet the Vote's commitment to poll worker recruitment and your support of military and their family members. We're so proud to be partnering with Vet the Vote today, And we also thank you for the past collaborations, and we look forward to future ones. Our next speaker has been instrumental in helping us set up today's event. Tanisha Hudspeth serves as the Harris County Clerk and Chief Election Official. Harris County is the third largest in the nation and has a population of 4.9 million people. Clerk Hudspeth has been with the clerk's office for over 20 years, serving in several roles. In January of 2020, she was appointed Chief Deputy, and less than a year later, she was elected Harris County Clerk. She is active in the Harris County community, and that service has taught her that service to community is certainly not a chore, but it is actually a way of life. Please welcome Harris County Clerk Tanisha Hudspeth.
I'm a lot shorter than Greg. So as you can see, I'm going to have to pull that mic down. Good evening. Good evening to our distinguished guests. I am Tanisha Hudspeth, your Harris County Clerk and Chief Election Official. Thank you to Gregory Clark of the U.S. Election Assistance Commission, and thank you, Camelia Jackson of Vet the Vote, for bringing together such a meaningful event. As we celebrate the pillars of our community, pillars, let me hear you say, yeah. I like that. I like that. Today, we honor your commitment to serving our communities and protecting the integrity of our elections. I want to thank my colleagues, Galveston County Clerk Dwight Sullivan, and our tax assessor, collector, and voter registrar, who I talk to every day, multiple times a day, for joining us today and for sharing their remarks about the importance of the work we do and our collective commitment to serving the voters of Texas. As we approach National Poll Worker Appreciation Day, I'm reminded of just how essential election workers are to our democracy. You are more than public servants. You are the reason our elections are conducted with integrity, professionalism, and public trust. To our veterans, thank you for answering the call to serve our nation and for continuing that service by helping administer our elections. Let's give a round of applause to our veterans. Your dedication to protecting democracy did not end with your military service. Our elections are stronger because your continued commitment, and we are deeply, deeply grateful. I also want to recognize the dedicated staff of the Harris County Clerk's Office who are here today. Thank you for the work you do every day to support our election workers and ensure every election is conducted successfully. We are especially proud to have veterans among our team whose spirit of service continues to strengthen our office. As we prepare for the November elections, let today serve as a reminder that protecting our democracy is not the responsibility of one person, but of all of us. It is a shared responsibility. Each of us has a role to play, whether by serving as a poll worker, volunteering, or simply encouraging others to get involved. Access to the ballot box is important because it gives eligible citizens a voice in choosing leaders, holding them accountable, and shaping public policy. Fair and accessible elections help ensure government represents the people and supports a peaceful transfer of power. Election workers are our neighbors, church members, family members, co-workers, and friends. Now together, let's recruit more and get them in the arena, not just to be a spectator, but in the arena. As you all know, most of you that know me, I'm not sure for words, but I know we have a lot more important people to listen to today. Thank you for your service, your sacrifice, and your unwavering commitment to our democracy. We appreciate you and we celebrate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Clerk Hudspeth, for your wonderful remarks, and certainly thank you for your service to Harris County, the state of Texas, and our nation. Our next speaker is the clerk for Galveston County, Texas. He has served as the Galveston County Clerk since 2011 and has worked for Galveston County since 2001. Throughout his career, he's been active in civic and professional organizations. In 2024, he was honored by his fellow clerks across Texas as the recipient of the Texas County Clerk of the Year Award, which recognized his leadership and dedicated service. Please welcome to the podium Galveston County Clerk Dwight Sullivan.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dwight Sullivan. I'm the county clerk from Galveston County. I also handle voter registration. And thank you to all of our vets in presence, also those online watching on the internet. Today is a special day. We're celebrating the National Poll Worker Appreciation Event. And I'm here to talk a little bit about our appreciation from my perspective. It's a true honor to be here today to celebrate National Poll Worker Appreciation Day and recognize the men and women who make our elections possible. I want to send a special thank you to Ms. Camilla. She spoke before, and wow, what a delivery. That was great, thank you. With Vet the Vote. Without you, we wouldn't be here tonight eating goodies and having such a beautiful venue. Thank you. I would also like to thank the U.S. Election Assistance Commission and Greg. Thank you very much for your support and leadership here. Most of all, I'd like to thank you for encouraging and doing what you do for veterans and military families, continuing to serve our nation through election service. It truly helps me out. This partnership has strengthened our election offices across the country by connecting us with people who already understand what it is like to serve and serve something greater than themselves. As the county clerk for Galveston County, I've learned that elections are built on trust. People trust that when they walk into a polling location, they'll be treated fairly. They trust that rules will be followed. They trust that their ballot will be protected, and their vote will be counted accurately. Trust doesn't happen by accident. It happens because the dedicated poll workers who show up before the daylight stay until every ballot is secured and take their responsibilities seriously. And trust me, I said stay until every ballot is counted. There's many nights where we've all stayed overnight till the next day. And thank you for that. I've had the privilege, I've truly had the privilege of working alongside hundreds and hundreds of poll workers, if not thousands, throughout my time. They are among the very best, veterans are among the very best poll workers we have and employ. Well, you may ask, why? Well, why do you say that? Well, I have a few reasons that come to mind. Because veterans truly understand the discipline it takes. In elections, there isn't room to improvise or make up things or cut corners. Election laws and procedures exist to protect every voter and every ballot. Veterans understand that following procedures isn't just important, it's critical. Veterans understand attention to detail. Elections involve thousands of details, and they all have to be done correctly. From verifying voter eligibility and maintaining accurate records to securing ballots and documenting every step along the way. They understand accountability. In the military, every person has a mission, and every mission matters. Election day is no different. Every poll worker has a job to do, and every one of those jobs contributes to a secure, fair, and successful election. Veterans also know how to stay calm under pressure. If anybody does, it sure is the veterans. Election day can be long, it can be busy. Sometimes unexpected challenges come up, and the best poll workers remain professional, solve problems, and keep serving the public with respect and patience. That's second nature for most veterans. But what stands out to me most is their commitment to service. When someone raises their right hand to swear an oath to defend our country, Constitution, That commitment doesn't end when they take off the uniform. For many veterans, serving as poll workers, it simply means another way to continue serving their country in another form. The mission changes, but the purpose remains the same. Programs like Vet the Vote recognize that our veterans possess exactly the kind of leadership, integrity, and dedication that election offices need. As county clerk and election officials, we often say elections are a team effort. That's absolutely true, isn't it? We couldn't conduct elections without thousands of citizens who volunteer their time to serve along their neighbors. Today, I want to thank every poll worker for answering the call, those here presently especially. Whether you've served one election or 20, your work matters. And thank you to our veterans, not only for defending our freedoms, but for continuing to protect one of our most fundamental rights, the right to vote. Your service didn't end when you left the military, but today you're helping preserve confidence in our democracy, one voter at a time. That is a mission worthy of your service. I would like to say thank you. God bless you. God bless this great state of Texas and the United States of America. I'm truly honored to be up here speaking on behalf of Galveston County and all other election professionals along the way, as well as in the state of Texas. Thank you.
Thank you, Clerk Sullivan, for your wonderful remarks and your service to Galveston County, the state of Texas, and our nation. Our next speaker is the tax assessor, collector, and voter registrar for Harris County, Texas. They bring decades of public service experience to the office, and among their many responsibilities is they maintain voter registrations for more than 2.6 million voters. Let's all welcome Harris County Tax Assessor, Collector, and Voter Registrar, Annette Ramirez.
Good evening. How's everybody tonight? So my name's Annette Ramirez. I am, of course, the Harris County Tax Assessor and Voter Registrar, but don't worry, I'm not here to talk to you about property taxes this evening. Although I'll have a chat with you outside about it. As the Harris County Voter Registrar, I see firsthand that our democracy is not just a concept. It is a collective effort. It relies on the dedication of people like you who show up to ensure that every eligible voice is heard. Our offices serve as the front door to democracy. We work tirelessly to ensure that our voter rolls are accurate and that every eligible Texan has the opportunity to register. I want to extend my sincere gratitude to the U.S. Election Assistance Commission and Vet the Vote for bringing us together to recognize the backbone of our democracy. Poll workers are the heartbeat of our election process. Whether you are checking registrations or guiding a first-time voter, you provide the essential, nonpartisan foundation that builds public's trust in our elections. My office works year-round to maintain the integrity of our voter rolls and expand access to registration across our diverse communities. But that work is only the first step. Sorry, I lost my place. Your role ensures that the work my office does to register voters is successfully realized at the ballot box. I want to offer a special acknowledgement to the veterans, active duty military, and their family members. You are already dedicated yourselves to defending our freedoms. It is incredibly moving to see you continue that service by protecting the very process that sustains those freedoms right here at home. Thank you for your service, your discipline, and your ongoing commitment to the principles of this nation. This event particularly sets the stage for National Poll Worker Recruitment Day on August 11th. As we lead up to this day, I encourage everyone to share the message that our elections are powered by people, by neighbors helping neighbors. Whether you are a seasoned poll worker or considering it for the first time, your involvement ensures that our democratic process remains strong, fair, and accessible. Let's carry the momentum from this week through the 11th and beyond to ensure that our polling locations are fully staffed and ready to serve. I want to once again thank the EAC and Vet the Vote for having this event, and a special thanks to our county clerk, who is a very strong partner, and she was correct. We speak every day. Thank you for your time today and for your willingness to serve.
Well, thank you for those wonderful remarks, Tax Assessor, Collector, Voter Registrar Ramirez. And thank you for your service to Harris County, Texas. Next, we'd like to welcome to the podium the Director of the Harris County, Texas Veterans Services Department. He served 29 years on active duty and is a command pilot with 3,100 flying hours in fighter and training aircraft. He has served in combat both on the ground and in the air, serving in the European, Pacific, Southwest Asian theaters. Please welcome to the stage retired Air Force Colonel Dave Lewis.
All right. What a great event. What a great evening. I can't believe I'm still up. I know some of you can relate, right? Could I get our veterans to stand up one more time for another round of thanks, please? Awesome. Thank you, each and every one of you, for your service. It's just amazing. And thank you to the Elections Assistance Commission, Greg and Camelia. Thank you for what Vet the Vote does. So important, and I'm glad we've capitalized on that service aspect of those of us who still want to serve. And we can get more for you, so let's get them out there. Harris County Veterans Services Department exists to improve the quality of life of our military veterans and their families, and we do that in a variety of different ways here in Harris County. I'm one of many county VSOs across the state of Texas and across this great nation. County VSOs are important. The answer is always the county VSO. Nobody ever knows what the questions all are, but the answer is always the county VSO, right? So one of our fundamental functions, one of our statutory functions, is to do claims and benefits, earned claims and benefits for our veteran population. I won't ask for a show of hands, but if you're in the audience and you haven't filed your disability claim or come to see us, please do so. Those are earned benefits that are important, and there's money set aside for us to be able to do that. It's not a welfare program. It's not a whatever program. It's essential payments that you get for your service. Many of us wake up in the morning and feel our service in our bodies, and it's important that your government will compensate you for that. Thank you. We do a couple other important things at the Veterans Services Department. We have a big suicide prevention program. You may or may not have heard about it. It's the Staff Sergeant Parker Gordon Fox Suicide Prevention Grant. We operate that not just in Harris County, but in every county that touches Harris County, including Galveston County. In our county alone, we lose a veteran to suicide every 6 days. And we don't need to do that. And one a year is too many, but every 6 days is rough. And so we're out there in all 9 counties working hard to make sure that we get the word out. And I don't want to dwell on the subject. It's a depressing subject, but who has not ever heard of 988? If you don't know what 988 is, if you yourself are feeling suicidal, or if you know anybody who is feeling suicidal, that is our national suicide hotline, 988, just like 911, 988. If you're a veteran, press 1. It'll take you directly to the Veterans Crisis Line. That's really important. You don't have to be in crisis yourself. You can call on behalf of anybody. Please spread that word, because we're not doing a great job of getting the word out there, but 988, so very important for what we do. We also spend a lot of time, believe it or not, in the Harris County Jail. Over 3,000 veterans in our county pass through the county jail every year. And many of them didn't get there by accident, but many of them get there as a result of the accumulated traumas and other things associated with their service. I have a firm belief, because I'll look them all in the eye and say, did you get through basic training or get through boot camp? Yes, sir, I did. It's still in you to get back up on life, or get back up on step. We'll get you back up on step. We'll get you the resources, but it's still inside you. If you're done seeking bottom, as I like to tell them, we'll get you back up on there. But veterans, about 30% of our veteran population has passed through our jails since the 1950s. It's a staggering number. We have the resources to get them back up on step, and veteran-to-veteran connection is so very important. And finally, we do a couple of other things. We have a couple of Texas Veterans Commission grants, one that provides emergency financial assistance for people who need some assistance with rent, one-time financial emergency, et cetera. So that's important. I am privileged to work for the 185,000 veterans in Harris County, and I'm privileged to lead a staff of 28 that's in there fighting the good fight every day. A little bit about me. I spent 29 years in the Air Force. I spent 2 years of that with the United States Army. I got to fight on the ground with Desert Storm with the United States Army. War at 8 knots is very different than war at 500 knots, I will tell you that. Then I spent 2 years with the United States Navy teaching at their War College. What a great location. What a great job I had. That was awesome. Then I spent 2 years running a Singaporean fighter squadron. If you're familiar with Singapore, they don't have a lot of airspace over there, so they actually came here to the United States and put together a squadron, and we had a lot of fun flying. That was a great job and a great mission. I had the privilege of seeing 33 different countries during my career, some of which invited us, some of which did not invite us. But the one thing that stuck with me no matter where I went is what a great country we have. What a great system we have. What a great opportunity we have as Americans to participate and make sure that our voice is heard. And that's so very important. You know, a Gallup poll on confidence in institutions in our country consistently rates our United States military forces very high in those polls. Some institutions, not so much, like our United States Congress, for example. But we want to have faith in that, so we want to make sure that when we leave service, we get back into serving our communities. This is our critical voice, right? We're not a pure democracy. Athens was a pure democracy. It didn't turn out well for them. We're a representational democracy or a constitutional republic, depending on how you want to look at it. But your voice at the polls is your voice, and it's so important that we get everybody out there. It's your only formal part of the process. So ensuring that every citizen that is eligible has an opportunity for free and fair voice. We simply can't execute our elections without the election workers and our poll workers, and I can't say thank you enough to all of you. Yeah, thank you. Again, I had the privilege to testify in Congress, in front of Congress, a couple different times, and I talk about veterans issues, and I say these aren't red issues, these aren't blue issues, these are red, white, and blue issues, right? And elections are the same way, right? Elections are red, white, and blue issues, and we need to all get out there and get behind that. We can't do this without all of you in the room, and again, all of you online that are watching. This is so important. So thank you for that, and thank you for all of you who chose to serve, especially our veterans. You know, I'd like to say it's in our DNA. It's not, but it's trained into us pretty well, right? And we don't know when to say stop, and we don't know when to say defeated, and we know how to go out there and execute a mission. Wind us up, point us in the right direction, and we're ready to go. We'll make sure that the American public gets a chance to participate as our Constitution intended. It's our right, and I believe our responsibility. So let's all start working to get everybody off the couch, in line at the polls, executing their vote, executing their voice, and make sure that we can hold our officials accountable. It's that important that we do that. Thank you again for everybody, and thank you for the time.
Let's all please extend our thanks to Colonel Lewis for his wonderful remarks and his office's support of military veterans and their families throughout Harris County, Texas. We hope everyone here in person and viewing across the country our event today. We will now play two videos. This first video summarizes information on what an election worker does, and our elections certainly would not run without them.
Ready to help America vote? Working at the polls is a great way to strengthen our democracy right in your own community. Election workers or poll workers set up voting locations, check in voters, and answer questions about voting. Any voter can apply to be a poll worker, and most poll workers get paid. Learn more at helpamericavote.gov.
While they have different titles across the nation, election judges, clerks, inspectors, commissioners, or poll workers, will they help their fellow Americans vote? You can learn more at helpamericavote.gov. For our second video, we want to play one that features our event partner, Vet the Vote. As eloquently explained earlier by Camelia Jackson, their program director, Vet the Vote is dedicated to recruiting military veterans and their families to serve as poll workers across the nation.
Since America was founded, the military community has served both on and off the battlefield, with veterans and their family members showing up in countless ways for their communities. These civic-minded individuals answer the nation's call by volunteering to serve again as poll workers in America's elections. Vet the Vote, together with our partner organizations, recruited nearly 165,000 veterans and family members to work the polls in support of free and fair elections. We've had volunteers from 4 out of every 5 zip codes across the country and representation from every branch of service. Isn't it time you join them? As our country reaches its 250th birthday in 2026, celebrate this milestone with service. Make a difference and join the veterans and family members who are already giving their time to ensure our elections run smoothly. Sign up to be a poll worker today. Visit vetthe.vote to learn more.
What great work Vet the Vote does. And we thank them for their service to our nation and for being our partner in today's event. Visit www.vetthe.vote for more information. I would be remiss today if I did not mention that next week on August 11th, our nation will celebrate National Poll Worker Recruitment Day. National Poll Worker Recruitment Day was established by the EAC in 2020. Numerous state election offices participate each time it's held. They are joined by nonprofits, elected officials, organizations, and more from across the country. We'd like to send special thanks to the numerous states, election jurisdictions, and everyone who will support and participate in National Poll Worker Recruitment Day messaging. To illustrate some of what will be shared on August 11th for this year's National Poll Worker Recruitment Day, we'd like to play a video from the NFL's New Orleans Saints and the NBA's New Orleans Pelicans.
Hey Saints fans, it's Chase Young. I want to talk to you about something important, helping America vote.
What's up, Pels fans? It's Trey Murphy. There are only 30 NBA teams and 32 NFL teams, but there's another team just as important. Nearly 1 million Americans who serve as election commissioners and poll workers.
That's a big number, and without them, the game of democracy doesn't run. And just like on the field or on the court, it takes teamwork.
Poll workers set up and prepare polling places, welcome voters, check registration, issue ballots, and help people through the process. They're the frontline team that keeps our elections moving.
Democracy works because people step up and serve.
Join the team by visiting helpamericavote.gov to connect with your local election office and learn how you can sign up as a poll worker.
Let's lead the way. Step up, serve, and be a part of the team that keeps America's democracy strong.
This is just one example of a range of organizations, big and small, who understand the importance of poll worker service. The wave of participation on August 11th will help recruit poll workers across our nation. Now let's turn our attention directly to poll workers. We next turn our podium over to a Harris County, Texas poll worker to speak as to why they serve. As a lead-in, our next speaker is a military veteran who served 6 years in the United States Army, retiring with the rank of sergeant. 17 years ago, they started serving as a Harris County poll worker, and they are currently serve as a presiding judge. Please put your hands together and welcome Harris County, Texas poll worker, Prophet Bong.
Good evening. They didn't tell me the light was going to be this bright. My name is Prophet Mbong. I speak with an accent. I look up the Merriam-Webster dictionary, and it defines service as useful labor that does not produce a tangible commodity. It is something that we do that is useful, but it does not benefit us financially. I am an immigrant. That's where my story starts, and I'm sticking to it. So I came to the United States to study, and from there I joined the United States Army. I did my time, not in jail, but in the Army. And when you have been in service, they teach you all what we do in elections. I was in the Army, so I know hurry up and wait. But in elections, you just don't hurry up and wait. You hurry up and you work with the most incredible people that you would ever meet, just like in the military. I became a naturalized citizen in 2009, in March. I signed up to vote. They're giving you the paperwork. And they also advised me to sign up to be a poll worker, and I did. In June of 2009, I worked in early voting. That was my first time. I worked as a clerk. Since then, I keep working every election cycle. My vacation before I got married, and by the way, where's my wife? Hello? My vacation would be taking time off to do early voting, because it's not that many people. We have people on election day, but early voting is critical and there is shortage of people. So I would take that time and do my early voting. I still do early voting and do election day. I have progressed through being a clerk to being an alternate judge to being a presiding judge. And 2 years ago, when I couldn't find an alternate judge, I recruited my wife. They say charity begins at home. Just like in the military, you don't know who is blue or white. You know everybody is red, white, and blue. You don't talk about what your ideologies are. You talk about what the law says, what have to be done. And I can tell you, if you miss one of those signatures, Ms. Hospet's office will call you back to come back and sign it. So it is for us veterans who have been trained to be precise, execute the mission, to step forward and put in plan what we already know. The leadership that is needed in elections is what we already have. It's been instilled in us. We were trained to do that. It does not pay you tangible money. When I started, it used to be $9, and then we got a big breakthrough. The county just decided to spend some money on us, $17. No county commissioner is here this evening, but I will say I did jury duty too. They used to do $7. Now they're doing $30. I just got back from one, and they give you a card. Maybe we can put some word in there. But in all sincerity, if you've done jury sermon and you go there and you sit all day and not really do anything, and if you've been in the military and you've been trained, or you've been to whatever your DD 214 had to be, education, degrees, or whatever, I challenge you to come and do this work. This is the greatest work that I have had outside being a parent to kids that won't remember me tomorrow. But I want to thank the clerk's office and everybody working there for giving us the opportunity to serve. And I just really, really appreciative that I'm selected today to come and give my own experience having been in this position. And I hope I get to go back and ask more people to come and join. Thank you very much.
Mr. Bong, thank you so much for your inspiring words of service, and thank you for your military service to our nation and your choice to serve our nation once again as a Harris County poll worker. Our next speaker is a military veteran who served in the United States Navy for over 20 years and has worked as a poll worker as well as running parts of the election process in Galveston County for over 6 years. Please put your hands together and welcome Galveston County, Texas poll worker Bill Sargent.
Hello. Hey, that's better. All right. Most of us here are veterans. Not all of us, but most of us are. I was blessed to be in the enlisted ranks when I first joined the Navy. And I took an oath at that point to support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the laws of this country. I served 6 years in enlisted ranks, and then I became an officer. Went to Newport, Rhode Island, went to officer candidate school and became an officer. And I took it again. I don't think it's because I didn't get it right the first time, but anyway. But you know, that oath didn't pass away when I retired. That oath still holds. That's our job. My service in the military was for over 20 years, but I also served on Capitol Hill for over 25 years. I worked for 2 congressmen and a senator and did that. And more recently, I've been working with the state legislature. In fact, I've been doing that for 15 years. And Tanisha and Dwight will tell you that I was there 2 days ago, testifying before the House Committee on Elections to make and improve the election code. Now, the election code is very, very difficult to understand. Sometimes you need some kind of a rubric to figure out where you're going to, what applies. But it's very difficult to understand it, and it's important that we do that. That it changes all the time. Let me tell you how I became an election worker. I'm a bit naive sometimes. My realtor, I moved to Galveston County in 2006, and my realtor was an election judge during the primary election. And so she called me up and she said, "Hey, Sarge," I go by Bill Sarge or "Hey, you," said, "Sarge, I need someone to be a clerk for me on election day." And I said, "Clerk? What's a clerk?" "Oh, don't worry about it. I'll tell you everything you have to know." Okay, so I said, "Well, you're a friend. I'll do that." Hello, still there? Okay. So I did that. Well, it goes along, till the afternoon, and she says, "Hey, Sarge, listen, I've got to take all this election equipment back to the elections division at the end of the day. I want you to serve as the precinct chair for the precinct convention." I said, "Precinct convention? What's a precinct convention?" "Don't worry about it. I got this script. All you got to do is just read this script," right? So I said, "Well, okay." So I go to the precinct convention. Well, this is the year that Obama was running, all right? And there were 600 people in the Democrat side in their convention. I had 5 plus me. And so I go through this rubric, and it says, you have to select a permanent precinct chair. I said, "Okay. So now, which one of you 5 want to do that?" And they're all looking at me. I said, no, you got the wrong guy. No, well, guess what? Here I am. So I did that. Well, after that was all over, in 2010, I was asked to be the Republican Party's election administrator. And that job is one where you have to get all the workers, if you know what that means. And that's not an easy job, but we did that. And then after that election, Dwight Sullivan right here calls me up and says, "Hey, Sarge, would you like to do that for the entire county?" I said, what? And so I said, "Well, we need to have some coffee and sit down and talk about this." And because so we did that. And so he came over to the house, we had coffee. And if you haven't guessed already, I'm an A-type personality. Okay. And so and I think Dwight was a bit scared, to be quite honest. And so I said, "Dwight, I know you have this authority, but let me tell you, I give you my permission to say, Sarge, back up. Because I'm like a dog with a bone when I see something that needs to be done, right?" And his countenance completely changed. And then that was the beginning of it. I brought, countywide voting to Galveston County that year. I was the only person in the office who did not have a smartphone. I had a flip phone, right? Guess who he put in charge of developing the very first app in Texas for elections? I had to get a smartphone. And it's smarter than I am. Anyway, so that's how I got involved with elections. Now, I've been an election judge. I still am an election judge. I've been an election judge at Central Count. I've run elections for over 6 years. And I can tell you, without the help of the people who are actually out there voting or who are working the elections, it ain't going to happen. It just ain't going to happen. Now, when I first started working with Dwight, we had a problem in our county. The Republicans and the Democrats didn't trust each other. Okay? And in the current environment, I think some of that still happens, at least out in the voting world, but not in our polling place. Because Dwight, I'm a columnist. I've written over 300 columns for local newspapers as well as papers in Florida and California. And I'm a very political person. But I want to tell you this. We decided when I came to work for him that all of that stayed outside the front door. When you come to work for us, the bottom line is you're here to serve the voters. That's what it's about. It's not about your positions. And I think I'm right, Dwight. Tell me if I'm wrong. But when I left after 6 years, we were working together as teams. I mean, I work at the Justice Center. My wife works at Moody Methodist on Galveston Island. We have no problem leaving, going to lunch or whatever, because our counterpart's going to do the same job. And they don't have any problem with us leaving and go to lunch. Same issue. And in fact, our two groups get together probably every other month at our house and have happy hour together. All the workers. I'm not going to invite you, but you know. But that's how it has to be. You have to trust each other. Because if you don't trust each other, the voters aren't going to trust you. Right? Okay. Now, one of the most important things is the integrity of the election. That's been my mantra for years. We need to treat every single voter, regardless of race, gender, political persuasion, no matter what. Every single one has to be treated with respect. They walk in the door, I don't care who they are. If they walk in the door, they need help, we're there to help them. That's what it's about. But we can't do that alone. We need people like those out there in TV land and those who are here who are not already working elections. We need you to go to your county clerk or whoever runs elections where you are and say, I want to help. We need that. We have to have that. So I ask you to consider that. I want to tell you that I've had a wonderful time doing it. And as Tanisha will tell you, when I testified 2 days ago, they were talking about Sunday voting, and in Texas they're going to change that to voting 9 hours on a Sundays. And I said, hello? I mean, that's like watching paint dry. Okay, we can't have that. We're going to change that, and we got the chairman, didn't we, to say we're going to go ahead and we're going to change that. So, keep up what's going on, and we'll train you. And if they don't train you, they'll send them to me and I'll train you. So God bless you all and thank you for this time.
Thank you, Sarge. Appreciate it. We'll work with this a little bit. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Sergeant, for those inspiring words of service, and thank you for your military service to our nation and your choice to serve our nation once again as a Galveston County, Texas poll worker. Next, we'd like to welcome a second poll worker from Harris County, Texas. They are a military veteran who served in naval aviation. They have served on and off as a poll worker for the past 62 years. Starting back when he was only 21 years old. Please put your hands together and welcome Harris County, Texas poll worker, Eugene Feigelson.
Well, howdy, y'all. My name is Gene Feigelson. Grandma called me Eugene. That was after my grandpa. But forgive me, my English is not too good. I'm from East Texas. Small town in East Texas where in the junior high and high school, we had a pickup truck that was for driver's education. They used the same truck for sex education. Okay. All right. Now, This is the first time that I've been in a meeting with Tanisha that she hasn't picked on me, because usually I'm sitting out in the audience, and one time I was sitting with a bunch of district and county judges, because I work in their campaigns and I work in their offices in the courts from time to time, and she always talks about recruiting election judge she picks on. There's Gene back there, one of my senior presiding judges there, and the other judges kind of say, she picks on you and not us. She recognizes me. But the other district judges kind of got jealous. But anyway, Tanisha does great, and I've enjoyed working with her for many, many years. My service in the Navy came as a result of, 1964, I turned 21 years old. I was in college. And when you're 21 years old in Texas back in the 60s, what do? You go down to the courthouse and apply to vote. But you have to pay a poll tax. Y'all remember poll tax? Y'all are too young. Yeah, I'm 83 years old, but yeah, I paid a poll tax, $1.75. And for years I kept that, and I don't know, I lost it in a flood or something like that. But we paid a poll tax, and I was in college at that time. And that year, my neighbor was Congressman Jack Brooks, who was right around the corner from us. Family, we'd known him for many years. And I cut his grass, and I made 50 cents to cut grass. Back, it's big. It was big money back. That's before the minimum wage. And 50 cents to cut a big yard was good, and I cut a lot of people's yard. I made pretty good money at 50 cents a yard. But when I got into high school and college, he said, I want you to come work with me in my office and help out, because I organized a bunch of kids to work in his campaign and Lyndon Johnson's campaign. Y'all remember Lyndon Johnson? Of course, we worked for John Kennedy. And we went on, and I got to be pretty good buddies with him. Finished college, went to graduate school because the draft was on us. There was no lottery. It was every 18-year-old, you went in the service. You had no choice. But I was still in college, so I was eligible to avoid the draft at that time, went into graduate school. It's a different story. In graduate school, unless you were in medical school, which a lot of my friends did go, or ministerial school, you were exempt from the draft. So graduate school, they started plucking us out of the classes. I mean, guys, over half my graduate, I was in one course in constitutional law. I was an engineering major, but graduate school, I was avoiding the draft for a while. I saw it happening. So I already had my pilot's license. I got it at the University of Texas because it could do it very inexpensively then. And I wanted to be a Marine pilot or a Navy pilot. Tried out for both of them. Both of them said, your eyes aren't quite good enough, because I'd had an eye injury as a child, and your ears aren't quite good enough. But you have the knowledge, so I went to Navy Officer Candidate School. In the first few days, the Navy chief, and all our Navy chiefs at that time in 1966 were World War II and Korean War veterans. And these were tough guys. Tough guys. And they came in there. One guy came in one day and with our group early in the morning. We started mustered 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30, whatever. Says, how many of you guys were Boy Scouts? About 3 or 4 of us raised our hands. He said, you guys come on up here. These guys are going to be your squad leaders. They've had discipline. They understand how to organize things. And most of the other guys, I mean, we're talking about college graduates. They were football players, basketball players. They were athletes. I was not exactly an athlete in my high school. Either you played football or you in the band. So I was in the band. Yeah, I played French horn. Definitely played French horn. I ran track, but was not a heavy-duty athlete. But we went on, and that was progress, understanding that the scouting background helped out. It helped out. I can't talk too much about what happened in Vietnam. It was a different world, but I've lost my hearing riding in those Marine helicopters and banged up my leg a little bit. But other than that, Vietnam was a different world. Today, I work in the Asian community very seriously. I manage a large Asian real estate brokerage in Chinatown and Katy, Asia Town. And when elections come up, who do I recruit? My Asian workers. Very, very heavy duty recruiting. What I do is I talk to them about how important it is, because many of them are citizens. And I've been to naturalization ceremonies where we all go from time to naturalization. And what do you do at naturalization? You give them that voter registration. We recruit them for sure. So voter registration is important, but getting the Asians to work at the polls. And about 4 years ago, Tanisha's staff assigned me to the Vietnamese Community Center. I was very comfortable there. I speak a little Vietnamese, yes, and it was very successful. We got a pretty good group out. In the last 2 elections, May and the runoff, where did they assign me? Chinese Community Center, my natural dwelling place, so to speak. And I got to work with all these gorgeous Asian women who were just, these are my people. These are my people. I am embedded in the Asian community. I'm recognized in both federal courts and state district courts as an Asian cultural expert. I didn't know that until a judge called me and said, we want you to testify on certain cultural aspects, whatever. And then I teach at the police academy from time to time, and I work with the FBI from time to time on Asian cultures, and dealing with that. So it's just my honor. My brother here from Galveston County said there are really important things about recruiting. I work in the scouting movement still today. I teach at the courthouse. They open the doors for us, and we teach a lot of classes there for our scouts. We're no longer Boy Scouts. We are scouts. I was responsible for several of the first female Eagle Scouts. Y'all are familiar with Eagle Scouts. We have a story we talk about. What do you call an Eagle Scout on his way to, I worked my very first election in '64. And I have worked elections for many, many years after that. It's just been an honor, and I love to recruit my minorities, my Asians and my Hispanics and my Panamanians and people who speak Tagalog and all the different great languages that I don't understand because I'm still learning English. Thank you all so much. I appreciate your being here.
Mr. Feigelson, thank you so much for those inspiring words of service, and thank you for your military service to our nation and your choice to serve our nation once again as a Harris County, Texas poll worker. We send our heartfelt gratitude out to all our election workers throughout the nation for their dedication to service and for making the choice to serve our nation to help make our democracy possible. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine traveling at 17,500 miles per hour, watching the sunset 16 times a day, and looking down at our planet from 250 miles above. Our next guest doesn't have to imagine it, he lived it. Additionally, when I think of the hundreds of thousands of poll workers, election judges, inspectors, election commissioners, and others who serve across our nation each election year, a phrase that comes to mind is teamwork. Who better to speak to teamwork than an individual who has served our nation as a NASA astronaut and a United States Army colonel? Selected as an astronaut in 1990 during his Army career, our keynote speaker logged 9,000 flight hours in 41 different air and spacecraft. During his NASA service, he was assigned to several historic space missions, most notably STS-58, STS-74, STS-92 aboard Space Shuttles Columbia, Atlantis, and Discovery. He also served as the commander of the International Space Station Expedition 12, flying a Russian Soyuz spacecraft to the International Space Station. He joins us representing the NASA Alumni League, Please welcome retired Colonel and astronaut Bill MacArthur.
Greg, I was going to thank you for the opportunity to be here, and then you made me follow Prophet, Sarge, and Gene. Not so much. Okay. But I would like to thank the EAC and Vet the Vote for the opportunity to be here. I'd also like to thank the Galveston and Harris County officials for joining us tonight. I lived in Harris County for 22 years and 17 years now in Galveston. No, I wasn't born in Texas, but I got here as fast as I could. It was actually as fast as NASA would bring me here. A very wise gentleman once told me, at an event like this, you should open with a witty remark, you should close with a good joke, and the two should be as close together as possible. I'll try to remember that. You know, our Constitution, the document which defines how our nation is governed, begins with these words: "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union." These words explain why I'm grateful to live in this country, and I'm proud to have worn the American flag on my spacesuits. Not only for what this nation is today, but that this nation has grown more just over time and will be even better in the future, because we, the people, will make it happen. The challenge laid forth by the Constitution is to always strive to make the United States a more perfect union. The framers didn't write a perfect union because they recognized that the United States will always be a work in progress, and it most certainly is. That brings me back to the first words. It all starts with we the people. It is up to we the people for this country to become more perfect. And what is the first thing that we the people can do to form a more perfect union? Let's vote. Voting is a privilege and a responsibility. Yes, the most powerful thing that we can do is vote. At the national level, we are a representative democracy. Through our elected representatives, we, the people, determine how the United States is governed. Local elections hit even closer to home. No pun intended. As a career Army officer, I was often deployed far from my legal residence, as many of you were. In my experience, absentee voting was encouraged and facilitated. It was a privilege. As a young lieutenant, I vividly remember being the company voting assistance officer. Now, as an astronaut, all of my launches occurred in the fall, most in odd-numbered years, to include my 6-month stay on board the International Space Station. There wasn't a general election while I was in space. The one mission, which launched in November of 2000, it did launch after Election Day, but I was able to vote early. But things changed 30 plus years ago, when my fellow astronauts started spending months in space instead of days. 7 astronauts were on the Russian Mir space station in the 90s, and hundreds have been on the International Space Station. The first NASA astronaut to vote from space was David Wolf, my astronaut classmate and later crewmate. Dave cast a local election ballot here in Houston during his mission on board the Mir space station in 1997. In 2004, another former crewmate and classmate of mine, Leroy Chow, became the first U.S. astronaut to vote in a presidential election from space aboard the International Space Station. Leroy and I performed some of the earliest spacewalks to build the International Space Station. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, voting wasn't important. On this planet, it certainly is. The 24-hour news cycle often seems to exaggerate our disagreements. I'm sad when friends tell me they think that democracy is threatened by the other side. Because of people like you, I don't believe that. I have confidence that our nation is much more resilient than that. I know there are many veterans here. Thank you for your service. Today, people often say that reflexively without thinking about what it means. And not too long ago, that wasn't the case. When I was a young lieutenant in the early 70s, immediately post-Vietnam, no one said thank you for your service. But it shows, but now we do hear that a lot. And it shows that society recognizes that service is essential to the health of our nation. Whether you're a veteran or not, citizen service to community is invaluable service to the nation. To all of you who volunteer as poll workers, thank you for your service. In election cycles like this coming November's, hundreds of thousands of our fellow citizens will serve as poll workers. In a presidential election, almost 1 million will serve, and any election cycle, almost 20% are military veterans and their families. Like the NASA team of thousands of people who ensure the success of our space missions, you are the team that ensures the success of our democracy. And remember, National Poll Worker Recruitment Day is set for August 11th, 2026, and is a nationwide initiative to encourage more people to sign up as poll workers and help your fellow Americans to vote. If you're undecided, make that your decision date. If you're already committed, encourage friends, family, and neighbors to join you. But I love voting in person. It's a chance to see neighbors who help ensure democracy is strong, and I can thank them in person. I walk away from my polling place with a sense of optimism, proud to be an American. And once again, thank you for your service. I promised a closing joke, but it is getting late, so I'll keep it short with an astronaut dad joke. How does NASA organize voting from space? They plan it. Oh.
Thank you, Colonel and Astronaut MacArthur, for your stirring and passionate remarks, and certainly thank you for your highly decorated service to our nation. As we're near the end of our event, let me again thank Vet the Vote for their partnership today. And again, thank the Harris and Galveston County Clerk's offices, as well as Johnson Space Center and Space Center Houston, for their support to make today's event possible. We hope you were able to tour a bit prior to the event. Space Center Houston will be closing shortly at 9 p.m., so thank you for attending or viewing our event tonight, and thank you for your service to our nation. With that said, I'd like to now invite back to the podium Vet the Vote's Camelia Jackson for some closing remarks.
Colonel MacArthur, thank you. It's one thing to hear about mission critical service. It's another to hear about it from someone who has actually left the planet and then come back. I don't think any of us in this room is going to think about a poll worker's morning shift quite the same way again. As we close tonight, I want to say something simple. This room just spent 2 hours proving a point. We heard from county clerks who believe veterans belong in election administration. We heard from a veteran services director who has lived that transition from uniform to public service himself. And we heard from 3 poll workers who didn't just talk about service, They showed up and did it after decade after decade after decade. And we heard from an astronaut who reminded us that the biggest missions are carried out by people willing to do small, precise things correctly, over and over and over without looking for credit. So here's my ask, and it's a short one. If you came tonight already serving as a poll worker, thank you. We appreciate your service. Bring a friend next cycle. If you came tonight still deciding, the folks from Harris County and Galveston County are in this room right now, and they would love to talk to you. And if you're not sure where to start, find me or find anyone wearing a Vet to Vote badge before you walk out the door. I want to thank Space Center Houston and Mr. Harris for opening this building to us. I want to thank the EAC and my partner, Greg, for making this national recognition feel personal right here in Houston. And I want to thank every clerk, every official, every veteran, and every family member who gave up a Thursday evening to be here. Our elections work because people decide to show up for them. Tonight, this room decided to show up for the people who show up. That's worth being proud of. Thank you, and before I say safe travels home, I want to remind you, please, if you did not do so already, validate your parking with the QR code on the sign up front. Safe travels.
Thank you. This ends our event. If anybody would actually like to be up on the stage and take any group photos, certainly feel free.